Welcome to the conversation. In today's episode, Johnny is talking to Lucie Marchelot Shukla, co-founder of Moon, who are empowering women to improve their physical, mental and emotional well-being. We hope you enjoy the episode and be sure to subscribe.
With the journey that you've been on and now coming to the, you're in this pre-phase of Moon and you're launching sometime next year. What was it that really inspired that journey for you? What was the spark? What was the catalyst?
Yeah, so actually meeting my business partner Gita, we were introduced by a mutual friend, and we really connected instantly on our passion for wellness that's rooted in nature. She's an Ayurvedic practitioner, and I have used Ayurveda a lot in my healing journey, and also gut health and also the power of self-introspection. So we have both, she has worked with a lot of people over the last 2 decades, and I have worked on myself and also working now with clients. There is a power in, finding your own, understanding your own needs. Everyone is different, and you need to really pause and do a lot of work to really understand who you are, what are your needs, what is nourishing you, what is depleting you, and until you really get to that point, you're not going to find your truth. You're not going to find perhaps your purpose, or find what really is going to motivate you and drive you in life, and is going to also impact your health. So I think we really connected on that. And we were both at her stage in her career. She was looking at, ways to reach more people. And I am from a background in tech. So for me, it was also like, when am I launching my membership site? It was for sure that I was going to have something related to wellness in that space. So how can we impact more women? It was quite clear from the beginning that we were going to focus on women, because women's health is very specific and different from men's health. So in this case, we thought, how can we impact more women? How can we build something that is scalable? Of course, the one-on-one work is very powerful, and I get a lot of satisfaction doing that. It's very rewarding, but there is just so much time during the week, during the month. So having a platform that people can use, having a platform is something that we're both really drawn to. So then we had quite a few meetings and back and forth, and then we settled on Moon.
Amazing. Are there any specific pillars that you focus on in, encompassing a holistic health outcome for the people that you're working with? Are there any particular pillars that kind of like form the foundations of an approach that you take with the women that you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my private practice, I created that method called the reset method, which is interesting because we understand reset. A lot of people need a reset and really find their, inner balance and their balance in their gut and overall, have that reset. And the R stands for relaxation, because chronic stress, and of course we can't avoid stress, but chronic stress and unnecessary stress is impacting our health. So finding moments to relax, moments to, calm our nervous system, that's one important part. E is for eating. So obviously nutrition is very, very important and something that I am very passionate about. Then it's S, which is... wait 1 second. Set is sleep. S is sleep, which is, again, like a foundation of, health and wellness. Without a good night's sleep, without a good hygiene around sleep and, consistency in our sleep pattern, we can't repair, we can't be at our peak health. So that's another very important element. Then we have E for exercise, so movement, daily movement. Here it doesn't mean, going to the gym every day and doing intense workout, but it's about moving a little bit every day. And then the T stands for tracking, testing, and tuning in. So tuning in, we've already touched based on that. It's about the self-introspective work and really understanding your personal needs and your nourishment requirements. And tracking and testing, it's about, also making the most of technology, and sometimes even journaling is a part of, testing and tracking, looking at, our vitals or our stools, looking, also testing what works for us, doing regular blood tests. Like, without the data, I'm very much of a data-driven person in work, and with health is the same. Without data, we cannot inform our changes. There are so many people who take, supplements, but they don't even know, are they deficient in vitamin D, or are they deficient in vitamin C or B? They just take it just to take it. So I think it's important to understand our personal needs through also understanding what we require from the data.
Yeah, and I think that's really vital. And there's so many things that you kind of touched on there that I think are, as you say, cornerstones of health. Sleep and good sleep hygiene, particularly as one. As Andrew Huberman would say, it is the very foundation upon which you build everything else. And I think one of the key things as well is maybe this is just my own lens, the relaxation part of it as well. That ability to take a pause, the ability to say, okay, I need a restful moment, and it doesn't have to say that means an extended vacation,
an hour meditation, or exactly. It's the same with movement. I think people also they don't do anything because they think, I need to meditate for an hour, I need to go to the gym for an hour. But actually, it's the daily small practices that on the long term really build that wellness. And this is what we are bringing with Moon, exactly that. It's built around the concept of 20 daily wellness moments. So rather than either do one time a week an hour session, or do nothing because you're just already overwhelmed by the thought of doing something for that long, then it's just taking 20 minutes a day. That's it. You can do it anytime you want, ideally in the morning, and then you will see the benefit. And once you see the benefit, you get more motivated and you want to do more as well at that point.
I mean, I absolutely love that. And I think the fact that, 20 minutes a day, we can all find that in our schedule, no matter how busy we are for our health. What are some of the little hacks, the tools, the tips, the hints and tricks that you give people if they say, oh, I don't have the time, even 20 minutes, as silly as that may sound, some people will say, Lucie, I don't have 20 minutes.
I have a family, I have a work, I have a job, I have a family, but I think 20 minutes is completely doable, and it's a lot less, I think, daunting than that 1 hour. Somehow we can commit more to 20 minutes than we feel like, okay, it's not that scary, I can do it. And I think if you can't do 20 minutes and you're not prepared to actually do it, then how bad do you want to feel good? It's also part of the journey. You have to commit, you have to be consistent. There is unfortunately no secret around that. That no one has found a method where you can just fast track or cut corners. You just got to do it. So.
You got to do the work.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that the excuse of I don't have time, and when you think about the long-term implications that might have later on, I'm pretty sure we would all say, I probably did have the time if I knew that this was going to be the consequence.
Yeah, I think people just wait for it to go really wrong to then do something about it. And at the moment, yes, if you start with 20 minutes every day to do something for yourself, that's really prevention as well.
And prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
With regards to the focus on women's health, why is it so much more key that particularly women are tuning into their health? I obviously can have some assumptions around that, but from your perspective, what's the reason that women need to be much more tuning into their health and having that reset?
Women have different needs, and so as much as we have individual needs within that category of women, I think that starting with creating a platform for women where they feel safe, where they are supporting each other's. That's important.
Yeah, 100%. I think, the simple, biology and physiology of things, I think, plays an implicit role in that. And as well as there's, your training maybe needs to alter at different times of the month, and kind of like your nutrition needs to support all of this sort of stuff. So
yeah, I forgot the obvious. Obviously, we have cycles, and then there are the cycles, and then there is the perimenopause, there is the menopause. Like, we are really, our whole life, we are facing a lot of changes due to our hormones, and so we have to, rethink how we do things, and so we need a lot of support. And I think there isn't now. I see more, but maybe because I am more in the wellness space, I see a lot more around cycle syncing, and also the whole perimenopause, menopause, maybe as I get older as well, topics. But I think that a lot more can be done to inform women, and to make them feel, supported and not alone on that journey.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think one of the things that has led to a bit of a shift in that potentially is actually the rise in women's sports.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know that the football team, they have tracking apps and all of that sort of stuff that shifts their training focus and goals around certain things. And there is much more that needs to be done. There's much more emphasis that needs to be done, particularly, as you mentioned, around things like perimenopause and menopause.
And generally with those apps for sports, they are always designed and recommended according to men's needs by men. So I actually have come across one that is designed around women's need, and it's interesting to see, like, there are so many now femtech and startups that are coming up, specifically designed by women for women, and
which I think is absolutely fantastic. It's a conversation that I was having with some friends of mine who are quite senior figures in the design industry, and actually they did have a bit of a challenge with one of the apps that, to your point, was female focused but completely designed by men. And when confronted with the question, when they spoke to someone on the board and said, why is it that there is no one here who represents the key target market, how are you enabling the effective positioning of this product? There wasn't really a good answer. And so I think that there is a need for much more female and women-led a lens on that speaks to those needs.
At Moon we are going to have a majority of women instructors. So the point of Moon is to also give access to that diversity of approaches. So we will work with different women. We're already working with different instructors, from yoga to mindfulness experts, creativity, positive psychology, mindset, like really a mix of, that holistic approach to health. And that gives everyone a chance to also see, what they relate to more, maybe this different approach or this different method, or it's just the voice, the way that the message is delivered. Different people will be attracted by different people. So that's also a way for them to discover through different methods, and at the same time do that self-discovery introspectively while they are learning.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions that I was going to ask is if you could maybe give people a bit of a flavour of the sort of experience that they might have within the Moon platform.
Absolutely. So Moon, we are going to have a balance of different sessions every week. So it will be that 20-minute daily micro rituals, and we will have a combination of movements. So it could be from yoga to dance to strength training. So a variety also, so that you can do it with pleasure and joy, and it's not something you are putting off. Mindfulness, so that comes with sound healing, meditation, breath work, things like that. Then we also want to bring in, that creative side. So that's something that we are exploring at the moment. Then we will have live masterclasses. So that can include nutrition, that could include positive psychology or mindset. So we will work with also external experts to deliver those masterclasses. We'll also have live workshops, so it could be a cooking workshop.
Wow,
So
cool.
because I think there are many people who are they're looking to make healthy changes in their life, but sometimes people are not comfortable in the kitchen. They haven't grown up in a kitchen where people are cooking, and they are not very confident. So maybe doing cooking classes can help them to, break that barrier, get that boost of confidence in the kitchen.
For sure.
And then we will have, for those who want to be part of more of a growth path, we will have our coaching circle. So those who want to join our group coaching, we'll have like small groups of 15 women or so who are coming together once a month and discussing different health and wellness topics, basically.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. And that has a real lovely community aspect to it as well, that I think also informs a lot of the social connection aspects. I think one of the challenges that we probably are all acutely aware of now is, in our fast-paced digital landscape of social media and everything that we've got going on, there is a tendency for us to become a bit myopic in our behaviors. So
I can hibernate in my house.
Exactly.
Now that I work from home, I can stay there for a week without seeing anyone. So I agree. Yesterday in the event, I think women really appreciated that time to also spend with other women who are facing similar challenges, especially as entrepreneurs, and feeling like they are not alone, feeling motivated, supported. That's very important.
100%. Well. It's a camaraderie, right? It's a building of a team almost, and you feel like you've become part of that community, and that's a wonderful gift to be able to bring to people with the work that you're doing. From the things that you've seen, what are some of the biggest challenges that you see people struggling with at the moment? And
so I think that there is of course, an epidemic of like chronic diseases, chronic inflammation. That's something I really focus on, inflammation, because I have an autoimmune disease myself. So we know that the root cause of that is inflammation. So a lot of people suffer with inflammation, whether they know it or not, because there is inflammation you can see, there is silent inflammation that you can't see. So that's something that people suffer with a lot. In terms of what people are challenged by, what I see a lot, and potentially like through social media, on the comments that I get, people struggle with forming healthy habits. I think that people have a lot more access to education now. They know pretty much what they have to do. I think they get confused potentially with the amount of information that's available out there, and not so sure what will work for me, what should I trust. Someone tells me I should eat all plant-based, someone tells me I should eat only meat and butter. So they get a little bit, confused. But what really, I think, what stops them is forming healthy habits. Like, I see you have a routine, you do all these things in the morning, in the evening, you eat healthy, but how do I get started? And how do I form those healthy habits? Because most people will go on a, reset. Not my reset, but they will go on a 2-week, diet, or because they want to lose weight before a holiday, or they want to look good for a wedding, or something like that. They generally associate healthy changes with a specific goal and outcome.
But in some cases, some of those changes aren't even that healthy. When you're talking about
I'm not
2 weeks for a diet, and you're talking about something,
you're not going to achieve
that's a bit of a crash.
A lifetime of health through that. Of course, that's not something I do like promote or anything like that. I think that, and it's the discipline and consistency that's required. There is no magic method or shortcut. You just gotta be prepared to commit and get started and be consistent with your changes. But then there are other points that I think are going to help with that commitment and that discipline.
I think you've hit the nail on the head with the consistency aspect of things, because the more I practice, the luckier I get, right? That's the saying.
Exactly. I think the second one to me is mindset. I think that the mindset and the language that you have around making healthy habits, creating healthy habits, or around, health and wellness, is going to, dictate your success in a way. So a lot of people I see are sharing recipes, sneaking vegetables in, things like that. So basically, subconsciously, you're already implying that vegetables are boring, are bad, or what is it? Like, for me, I really can't get more excited than being in front of a beautiful, colorful plate of food, and instantly, you're sending the signal to your digestive system. I mean, it sounds a bit cheesy, but this is,
but we eat with our eyes as much as we do
stuff. Other people say, oh, I have a cheat day. Like, of course, if you are thinking you are cheating by having this, also you are labeling bad meals and good meals. All this language are not helpful. And then for those who are already suffering with a chronic illness like autoimmune diseases, for example, which is something I have a bit more experience with, I see that some people they are now identifying as a patient. They are basically, the doctor tells them you have this chronic disease and you're going to have it for the rest of your life, and this is it. It's a life sentence, and in their head they think that's it. The doctor told me I can't heal, so I won't be able to heal. I have to take medication for the rest of my life, and I have to be, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but like a victim, because you don't have any power over it. So you are like just in a weak position, let's say. And there are lots of people also, I saw someone talking about that on TikTok the other day, and there are lots of people on social media who will create their whole entire profile with the handle and the bio and everything as warrior of, like, I don't know, like, I'm going to say like endometriosis warrior or this and that. Now your whole identity is that you are a sufferer, and everyone is going to put you sympathy comments around that, and now you're receiving positive from your illness, and so you are sending all the signals that actually you need to stay ill in order to get the positive.
It's a very dangerous and slippery slope.
So I think, like, not trying to, just accept this as a final sentence, and perhaps exploring the power of your own body, of your own mind, and thinking that you will do your best to not only manage your symptoms, but maybe you could put them into remission. Like, who knows? Like, I think that having that mindset can only help. Like, it may not heal you, but is it gonna serve you more than thinking the other way around? I think, to me, it's really a no-brainer, the mindset around.
Yeah, I completely
and the language
agree.
we use. So.
Because it's like, what's that phrase that I'm searching for? NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Can't even get my words out. It's that idea that if you say something to yourself, it's like if an athlete is being coached by their, the coach will positively reinforce them. They'll tell them the things that, they need to hear, not the things that, that they don't need to hear, because you can have a very negative self-talk and you can kind of become the thing that you believe that you are by what you tell yourself.
100%.
So
this is all around the subconscious mind and the conscious mind and all that, but it's also, our body responds to whatever we tell him. So let's say whether you have the image of fear in your head or you're actually in front of a scary cat, then not to say your cat is scary. I was going to say a lion, but we have a cute cat here. So imagine you're in front of a scary animal, or you're just looking at a picture of it. Like, no matter whether it's the truth, the reality or not, your body will have the same symptoms. It will go in fight or flight. It's going to try to protect you. It's going to create that stress response. So, our mindset is I think really crucial in our healing and in our healing process, but also in our language and our mindset around health and wellness.
Yeah. So we've touched on two.
We've touched on two. Let's
so consistency.
I think
mindset.
Consistency, mindset. I think the next one is why, like, the reason why, like why do you want to make those changes. So there is a lot of work around, you know, purpose and your values and things like that, but like why do you want to make those changes? Sometimes we need to understand, I want to make those changes because I want to feel this way, or I want to make those changes because I have a family I need to support. Maybe there are other things external to you that are going to, you know, motivate you in making those changes. Sometimes there are some, you know, for me, I think super simple things, like imagine you know that you have trillions of bacteria in your gut, and sometimes just thinking, you know, they are your pets, you're not alone. It's not only your decision for yourself, but you're feeding other small things inside you. So, you know, just simple things like that, it can help in making the different changes.
Okay, so consistency, mindset, finding your why.
Yeah, finding it.
And I'm really interested by some of the stress response stuff, because I was listening to something earlier today as well that was talking about how, I might get the exact number wrong here, but it's a lady called Lisa Feldman Barrett who studies emotions. And she was saying that when you're in a highly stressed state, your body's ability to metabolize food is so reduced that it's the equivalent of eating about 140 extra calories per meal, because you simply don't metabolize that food, which is why that can have an impact over a longer period of time, where it's, you know, it leads to kind of, I think the number she put in it was something like 11 pounds over the course of the year.
Yeah, because you are sending the signal to the digestive system, like is the digestive system ready to receive the food? Are they in digest and rest, or are they in fight or flight? And if you're in fight or flight, you're not prepared to
100%.
digest. So that's it. So the next one we've already touched based on as well. It's the self-introspective work. So looking at what is your nourishment plan, what nourishes you, what depletes you. Are you an introvert, an extrovert? I think around this self-discovery work, we can also realize that we have been conditioned from our childhood in thinking this is the norm. Maybe our families are a certain way. I'm talking from a personal perspective here. You know, your family is a certain way, and for me, I always thought, you know, being very social is a good thing. Being very social is normal. It's important. But now I understand I'm actually an introvert, and of course, having, you know, social interactions is very important and is part of a wellness plan. But finding the social interactions and the amount and the frequency that works for you is also important. And before I used to feel guilty, I don't have, you know, a group of friends that I am going out with in weekends and things like that, because in my background that's what's considered, you know, normal, when in fact that's not what nourishes me. And now I am very comfortable with it, and I have no shame in saying that I don't have a very social life, because, you know, this is what works for me. And so it's really doing that work, and generally doing that work with someone, or journaling can help as well, and really understanding from all the different facets what is your natural self, and then going back to that, and that really helps you in finding your balance. So also when you're wanting to create healthy habits, if you are creating healthy habits around what is ideal for your natural self, then it's more likely to stick, because that fits what you actually need.
Yeah, and it's so interesting actually what you're saying there, because it is that self-introspection gives you the ability to put a lens on actually who you really are and what nourishes you. And I think about this in the same sort of way of a bank account. You know, you have your taxes and you have your savings. And if by staying in as an introvert, you actually get to put more money into those savings, and then you have those social interactions every now and then, because we all need to be a little bit social. But, you know, that's a tax on that account. So that's a withdrawal that you're making. So you want to make sure that you're putting more into that bank account than you're taking out. Otherwise, the balance isn't there. And then, as you say, you don't find that you know, you're not being true to yourself, and that ultimately is going to lead to a point where you are going to find a struggle.
Of course.
And that doesn't need to be the case.
That's a good way to explain it.
Now you're going to test my memory here. So we've got consistency, mindset, the finding your why, your purpose, and then being introspective and true to yourself.
Exactly. The fifth point is around education, so understanding why we want to do certain things. I think for me specifically, I need to understand, everything around my changes, or my I need to be intentional around what I do, but understanding why this is, how is it gonna benefit me. So I think sometimes we are aware, in a way, like imagine on the cigarette packs you have those horrendous pictures and it says smoking kills, but it doesn't actually stop people smoking, they just ignore it. But while we are going through the other steps and we are open and prepared to making those changes, I think that understanding, like for example, you want to improve your skin, understanding that your gut is very important. It's very much related to the health of your skin. That's something that maybe I didn't know before, and I had actually been diagnosed with very bad rosacea at some point. My skin was completely red. I had I have some pictures on my Instagram. It was very, it was a difficult diagnosis for me. And the doctor told me nothing can be done and all of that. And then through my, my journey, I have understood that, what I eat is also affecting my skin. And I have done a lot of, and then through that holistic approach, you can actually really improve your skin. And nowadays my skin is pretty much, you could hardly see that I have rosacea, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of work that's being done at the moment, and there is a lot of understanding that we're still yet to achieve with the impact of the gut, and as it pertains to the rest of our health, particularly mental and cognitive functioning as well. It has a huge implication, whether we like to admit it or not. We often are what we eat, and if we're not giving ourselves the right nutrients and the foundational building blocks that we need, it will show. And it will make itself
so
prevalent.
This is just one small example, like for me, understanding, yes, that my gut health is linked to my skin health, that helped me to, make some changes that really improved my skin, and that motivated me in making other changes. So I think finding, the education around the specific changes you want to make and how it's going to impact you from a more evidence-based or even from different medicine, like Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine. Like if you really understand how things work in the body and how they can affect you, then I think that for a lot of people that really helps them in making the positive changes.
Yeah, 100%. The education one reminds me always of and I get the quote wrong all the damn time, which really frustrates me, because it's the Bruce Lee quote. It's kind of like, to take what's useful, adapt what is, and it is that approach. It's about educating yourself in a number of different ways, in a number of different disciplines, and taking little bits that maybe work for you, because no one is the same. We can't apply a general lens on everyone. You need to have an approach where you can find what it is
that's why I think those
you.
6 steps, they kind of all linked with each other.
100%.
And the last one, the 6th one, it's like taking small steps. So it's not about making drastic changes. Sometimes when I see people who want to work with me, they think, for the gut health program, I'm gonna have to change everything I eat. I have a holiday coming up. How is this gonna fit? No, it's not about completely changing everything you do, because again, it goes against your, nature and your preferences. So here it's about taking baby steps, and sometimes at the beginning it's about adding things rather than removing things. So when I look at what my clients eat, morning, lunch, dinner and snacks, I look at how can we elevate that. Maybe in the morning we can add a little bit more phytonutrients, we can add more things similar with all and then after they have gone through that phase of adding things and they get excited about it, the next step is to swap things. Maybe you swap this element with another element. I can maybe give an example. So adding things in could be adding spices or adding seeds or adding extra nutrients through, colorful food and things like that. So we're gonna add small things in, and then you get a little bit more excited about those changes, and then you can start swapping things. So maybe if you have, I don't want to give a specific example here because everyone is different, and I don't want to say if you swap this it's a bad thing and versus this. So everyone is different, and we look at everyone in that personalized way. And then after you have added things, swapped things in, then you are already getting more confident about what works for you, and seeing the benefits of making those changes, and it really motivates you in sticking to those changes and making more changes. So rather than changing everything, completely from one day to another, going progressively step by step. And then also with those small changes, it's about also looking at the personalized approach, but also the budget, because everyone has a different budget and different resources. So, we have to also take this into account.
100%. You've got to find, as you say, what works for everyone. So we've got. Okay, I'm gonna recap. You're gonna test the memory here. We've got consistency, so that ability to repeat and make those kind of consistently positive choices. We have mindset, so having that positive mindset that you can do something, that you can achieve something. You've got the finding of introspection first, so being able to self-reflect inwards and really understand what it is that you need, and if you're adding or subtracting from that bank account, or to use that analogy, finding our why and our purpose. Why is it that we want to make those changes? How do we manifest that education and learning and adapting what we've learned, and how we apply that to our own situation? And then small incremental changes as being the sixth one that wraps that up, where it's not about making a huge lifestyle change. It's about taking those small incremental wins, and compounding interests, to go back to the banking analogy, you see those gains and wins over time. And I think that what's so lovely, and I think you touched on this previously, is that each and every single one of these things actually relates to themselves, and it all interlinks, because it means that you think about this as a holistic approach. You're thinking about it from a path of not one silver bullet is going to solve everything. You've got to have everything in balance, and that's what's so beautiful about the approach. So yes, absolutely love it.
Thank you. You have summarized this beautifully. Thank you.
Well, it's a compelling topic, and it's really lovely to hear you explain it and go into the detail and use the examples that you've used. That's absolutely wonderful. What are some of the I know that we've touched on some examples. Are there other little micro quick wins that you can recommend to anyone that's wanting to get started? They want to make some really quick win kind of changes themselves that are going to maybe start to make them feel better, particularly around as we're coming down to the winter months and things that are going to be a little bit colder, the nights are drawing in, and all of that sort of stuff.
I think that living in tune with the season is a very important part. So looking at foods that are in season. In winter, I went to the shop. So I live in Portugal, and I went to the shop here to buy some groceries, and I was shocked to see so many different foods. You have cherries in the wind, we are in autumn, at the end of autumn, and you have cherries and all bunch of things. And I think we are really lost touch with the importance of living in sync with the nature. We are designed to live in sync with nature. So eating seasonal vegetables, they are designed to nourish us. In the winter, the vegetables are more into the roots, so they are more designed to ground us, to keep us warm. So if we have salads in the winter, for example, which may be seen as a healthy food, that's not going to keep us warm and not going to help us digest our food very well. So having stews and soups and hearty food in winter is great, and looking at those rich root vegetables. And then another thing, again, going back to living in sync with nature, for me it's having a morning routine and an evening routine that has really changed my life, both on the perspective of physical and mental health. So designing your routine and how you start your day and how you end your day. I know that online you will see, and I have quite an extensive one. When you see the videos on social media, you may think, oh my God, I don't have 2 hours in the morning to do the meditation and this and that, but it doesn't have to be that long. And sometimes it can be many steps, but they can be 5 minutes each. So it's finding, again, looking back at what, based on your nourishment plan, what is going to work for you, and implementing this, which you can bring with you anywhere you go. So if you travel a lot, you can also continue with that routine wherever you are, and that really helps you to also stay in tune with your circadian rhythm, which is very important. So waking up and looking at the daylight. So you can find more tips on circadian rhythm and developing a morning and night routine in my free ebook, Living and Eating the Anti-Inflammatory Way, which can be downloaded through my Instagram or website.
Incredible. How important do you think actually having that? I know that the key thing to stress here, and I think we'll keep coming back to this to make this point abundantly clear, is that it's not about having a super extensive morning routine. But what is clear is that building positive habits does help. And it is a massive aid to you making positive choices. How important is that morning and evening routine in really kind of setting a foundational base from which you have a launch pad into not just the day ahead as the morning routine, but for your sleep, and how important that foundation is in the reset pillar for the next day and that continued momentum.
Yeah, it's very essential. And then again, it's not about making ourselves feel guilty. The whole point of having a wellness plan and to have routines is that, yes, we can be flexible. If on some days I feel like we have to listen to our body, again, being attuned to our own body and our own needs. So in some days, the routine could look like there are some added steps. On other days, there could be some steps that are done a little bit differently. So I think people get a little bit afraid sometimes, but finding your what works for you and having a morning routine for me has really been extremely important. And that's what we are doing with Moon, giving people that 20 minutes where they can incorporate that into, whether they already have a morning routine or if they don't have one, then they can use that for them to practice something in the morning without it being super extensive and having it to 20 minutes.
Yeah, you touched on something there that I just want to come back to, because I think this is something that we can alleviate in some regard, is that what are some of the most common fears that you see that people have around making these changes, that actually, if you had a couple of messages that you would give to people to say, you don't need to be worried about these things, what would be some of those?
I think it's the assumption that you need a lot of time, that people don't have time. I think when, again, we're going back to the mindset, but if you tell yourself, I don't have time, then you won't have time. It's as simple as that. So I think maybe some people who are not seeing the benefits of having a routine, maybe they also have this assumption that routines are boring, routines are restrictive. Again, it goes back to what we are being told from when we grow up, and perhaps that you associate a routine with that. Maybe in the past I did as well, but actually understanding the power of it and seeing the benefits for yourself, then you understand that when you have a routine, you are able to give your body and your mind the best chances of staying in balance. And so we will all face, negative experiences. We'll all face challenges. So it's about finding that balance so that when this external negative experience occurs, you are not already on the edge. Because if you don't have a routine, I feel like, for me personally, I was on the edge all the time. And so when you're on the edge and something just come, on top of it, then it's an explosion and you don't have anywhere to go. But if you're already having a routine or having like tools that you know work for you, then they are very helpful on those moments where you're facing challenges, and they can help you go through that negative experience. But they are also helping you to be more balanced and be at a different level. So when those things occur, I'm just repeating myself, but you see the point here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think what you're saying really is that having this, taking that approach enables you to have more resilience in moments of challenge, where you can respond to something that much more positively. You know, accepting that there will be challenges, accepting that there will be some negative moments, but being more in balance enables you to have the resilience to tackle them more positively.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a lovely that's a lovely note and hopeful note for us to end on. If people want to find you, get in touch and learn more, where can they find you? How do they get in touch?
So they can find me on Instagram at wellnessunlimited.co, and the website, you have all the links in the bio. And then Moon, we have join.mooncircle on Instagram and the website as well.
Amazing. Lucie, it's been absolutely fantastic having you here today and telling us a little bit more about Moon and the work that you're doing. You can find out more about the work that Lucie's doing at joinmooncircle.com. Thanks again for watching, and please don't forget to give us a like and subscribe wherever you are listening to or watching this episode. And we hope to see you soon.